time to insert a quote. So where do we do this? Let's look inside main activity. And we see here that we had an add item that had a dialog fragment, create view. Let's take a look in here somewhere. So this is going to be to add things. So we get a current quote here, and already what we're doing is we're adding them to the list adapter. But there's a to-do here to actually insert this guy into the server. All right. So what we're going to want is we're going to want a we're going to want to be kicking off an async task here. All right. So we've already seen how async tasks work with one example, the query for quotes task. So let's go ahead and work on another one here. All right. So I'm going to close these guys up a bit here and make a class. We'll just call this insert quote task. And this guy is going to extend async task as well. And let's think about the types for this. So what is the type of the parameters? Well, if you want to do an insertion, well, you actually need a quote here. So let's pass in a movie quote. Okay. Progress, still void. And then what do we expect do in background to return, right? Well, if we're doing an insertion on the back end, then what we assume is going to be returned is another movie quote. Remember how insert worked on the back end, right? It was a movie quote method, and all methods basically took and returned model objects as parameters. So let's go ahead and put on movie quote right here. So we'll go ahead and have it stub in do in background for us. And what's going to happen here, right? We're going to want some similar line like we wrote to this guy. We're essentially going to ask our service to do something, only probably something with an insertion here. So let's check this out here. So my service dot movie quote dot, and there's an insert that takes a movie quote as content, right? So insert, and what is that content? You remember what we're passing in here, these parameters, that's an array, and we want to grab the first thing from it. And this guy is going to return another movie quote object, right? And again, that looks like it would be a one-liner, except that we have some we have to deal with exceptions here, right? So first of all, one more thing here. It's saying right here that the return type of this guy was insert, not a movie quote. That's because just like the query, we need to execute this guy. And it's actually the execute for this that'll return it. All right, so now we need a try catch block. All right, and again, just like we did before, so let's go ahead and make a movie quote here that we'll just call this something like returned quote, and that'll be null. And then it's returned quote that gets the result of this guy, and then we will return the returned quote. All right, once again, we're going to want to throw an exception if it breaks. All right, so I'm just going to copy and paste that other exception from before, and we'll just say failed inserting. All right, so something like that. So how did we know that insert was going to take a parameter? How did we know that this was all going to happen here, other than the fact that it kind of completed for me? Let's take a look, and we'll go back into our generated code. So remember, moviequotes.java here had a movie quotes class. And let's open it up here. It was movie quote, so the movie quote class that gave me the access to the other things. All right, and so here's the list method. Here's the insert method, right? So we can see that insert right here takes a movie quote, right, as a parameter, and then it does some work with here, and then it returns a result, you know, that could be executed. So that's how we see that. And in fact, everything is here, right? So insertion, list, deletion, which we'll come back to a little bit later. All right, very good. So that's insertion. Of course, once we do our insert, we want to let we want to have it just check the result to make sure that the result again isn't null, because remember the return on this guy should actually give us back a quote, so that when it's done executing we want to check it. So I'm going to go back up into my own post execute from before, and let's go back and we'll grab this if statement here. So if result is null, then failed inserting result is null. All right. And actually what we can do probably makes sense here, just to return without doing anything else. Up to us how we want to do this. So let's go ahead. I guess I'm going to put the super call up here before and run this guy. All right, let's see how insertion works here on the emulator. So let's go ahead and hit plus. Oh, we forgot to kick it off. Not going to work yet. So we want to execute this guy here. So let's go back to our insertion from before. So in our add item, we'll find that to do. Okay, and following the same pattern as before, we're going to make a new update. Let's see, what was it? A new insert quote task dot execute, and execute needs to be passed in a movie quote. So the one that we want to insert here is going to be current quote, right? So let's go ahead and pass current quote in as a parameter. All right, and let's see, put our parentheses correctly. So go ahead and insert it. Don't need these at the end. All right. Okay, and coming up here, it's loading up, it's synchronizing. Let's go ahead and add one. So let's add, recycle some old quotes here. So Darth Vader again. And we click OK, and it goes down to the bottom here. And it's interesting, that's actually due to the insertion that was done here, right? So whenever you add anything to your list adapter, it's going to put it at the bottom. Now it's interesting, other than that, when we were grabbing them from the server, we really wanted the newest ones to show up on the top, right? Well, if we wanted to synchronize it, right, what we could do is we could just update our quotes once we're done here. And where I might put that is actually inside my insertion. Okay, so once I'm done doing the insertion, what I could do is call update quotes right from here. Okay, this will make a brand new query, right, and sort of get things resynchronized. Not the only way to do it, right? You can imagine we could have sorted our we could have sorted things locally, but just to show you how this works, we'll try it this way. All right. So let's go ahead and let's see, let's add another one here. All right, I'm running out of quotes here, so we'll just say quote and movie, right? And let's just watch this, right? So it appears down bottom here, but then it kind of jumps up to the top, right? And that little bit of lag was actually due to it calling out to the network and getting things back from the back end, right? Kind of nice that it does that, right? Ultimately, this is where we want it, but that it populates immediately so that we don't have that lag is kind of nice, right? All right, that is how we do insertion. Join us back next time when we do a very short video on how to edit a quote.